something I'm going to bring up here, which may sound very weird to you people, is the fact that there's this book series I really like called Uglies. And although it doesn't really mention it a lot, Scott Westerfield, the guy who made this, it was really originally a book about accepting yourself for who you are, but it mentions that the people inside of it, there is a population limit policy. The people do not go outside of the city. It's segregated, of course, from pretties and uglies. And in the book Extras, it mentions that in Aya City, you're only allowed to have 2 children. And the only reason why you're allowed to have 2 children is because one will be a boy and one will be a girl. Because obviously in that time they have like gender deciding things. And one person will be a boy, one will be a girl, and ultimately they will find their other counterpart, and they will marry them and have 1 boy and 1 girl. And you see you can't say everyone has someone because, not all personalities are going to go together. And another thing that's also mentioned in the books, or what I have gathered from them, is the fact that, the fact that, I know young people are going to be like, oh, I'm 20, I'm going to go bang some guys now. It implies that when you're a new pretty, your fertility is turned off. Well, not turned off, you're just made incapable of producing children. Many children are produced accidentally.
Exactly, and especially coming back to the real world, in third world countries, they don't have birth control education. A lot of times they don't even have sufficient resources for birth control. So, and it's hard for them because they're very poor and they can't support all of their children. So I think it's important. Education is the first step in population control. Not necessarily mandated laws, these like fascist, totalitarian laws. You can only have 2 children. But if you just explain to people rationally, this is what's happening, and maybe educated the population about population control, people would begin to see the light.
But unfortunately, go ahead. Except what you guys have mentioned, the fundamentalists. Are they going to listen? They're going to be like, no, this is going against my God. I will make my woman have 55 children if I have to.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a problem. There's going to be a problem with every solution. But unfortunately, with that problem, it's saying like, if for education, there are going to be people that even if they know the education, like in America, is one case in point. There's a lot of people that know about education, know about how to keep themselves from getting pregnant. But there are still people that are like, well, I'm going to have a child because God tells me, or I'm going to have a child for money, or I want this many children because I want this many children. But I mean,
Octomom.
Yes, Octomom is one of them. But I mean, actually, I know this sounds okay. So apparently, due to
technical difficulties,
the camera got cut off mid-sentence. So what I was saying is, both me and my brother actually agree on this. As such as people are mentally seen as or are mentally capable of having or driving cars, they should be mentally evaluated in having children. I mean, a lot of people.
You can't do that to people because it's fascist.
It is,
and it's rude.
It's rude. Okay, have you seen half these children who are unfortunately born to parents who can't support them?
But intelligence is somewhat based on, in my opinion, is largely based on genetics. And if you happen to be born with a lower IQ, you can't be like, oh no, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, you can't have children because you're dumb.
I'm not just saying it should be based on intelligence, okay? But it should be based on if these people can actually support a child. I'm not saying, I'm sorry, maybe I should re-clarify myself. I'm not saying we're going to base this on intelligence, okay? I'm going to base this on rather you have a stable job, rather you're actually going to take care of this child and you want this child to take care of.
And they have that kind of thing for adoptions, The
adoptions, yes.
The social worker comes to your home. She observes your house, interviews you, and makes sure that you're in a stable condition to be able to adopt a child and take care of it. So I think something like that would be reasonable for new parents. But the thing is, what if someone just accidentally becomes pregnant, what are we going to take their child away if they're not in a stable environment?
We'll send them to Canada.
No, well, we could also do this. We could do, even if you get accidentally pregnant, I think all households that have children should be checked out periodically. I mean, just not only for the children's sake, but for the parents'
What
sake.
about extremely poor people? Like homeless people?
Why would they have kids?
They do.
They do.
I
have kids.
volunteered at the homeless shelter, and I see families return each year, and they have new kids, and I know a lot of them aren't sitting there going, oh, let's have another child, we can really support it, but sometimes these things happen, especially with
you could
there are
birth control methods, or no birth control methods, then you're gonna have kids.
But there are cheap and even free ways to control if you want to have children. You can go to a clinic, like if they want to have sex and they don't have money to buy condoms or to buy birth control. They can go to a clinic and take a morning after pill for free. There are clinics like that. It's free of charge.
You can't take a morning after pill after every time.
Then, if they know they're in a financial problem, okay, if they have too many children to take care of, and I'm not saying don't enjoy life to the best of your abilities.
Well, that's why we should have government-funded birth control. Why is birth control not free? We have a problem. We have too much population. Let's keep the population down by having better
church
sex
and
ed.
states are not separated. Church and states are not separated, frankly. You look at, I know you go on and like turn on the TV and you're like, oh, this guy's obviously atheist. I mean, look at his ideals. And then look at the majority, all these old, balding white men are like, by God, we should do this. And by God, we should invade the country of blue monkeys.
That doesn't really have anything to do with why birth control isn't free or
because
cheaper
they
as
can't make it. Because they can't make it free. Because that would be against God. Because then that would say the state is saying yes to abortion. Some people will see it that way.
Some people
already
see it that way.
Yep, some people already see it that way.
But the problem is, I think the biggest problem we're into with the environment is there's just too many people.
Yeah.
So what do? We want to have less people. But how do you do that in a way that's humane and respectful?
Yeah.
So basically you guys are saying we should have more like responsible family planning kind of thing where people would learn that if they're not really in a position to take care of a whole family with kids, they should be a lot more careful.
Most definitely. I mean, it's not only unfair to the child, okay, or unfair to the environment. It's just unfair to the family itself because homeless families who have to worry about their 6 children, it's just another burden, and it's also not helping them in getting back in a financially stable state. I mean, if they have to take care of these 6 children that they had while they were homeless, it's harder for them to find a job. It's harder to come up with the money to support them.
Oh, ouch. Where are we?
Sorry, some more technical problems. Battery ran out, but now we have better. Okay. Michaela was talking about.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know, what was the last, officially the last
should we ask
thing you were
another
talking
question?
about?
Yeah, let's move
I'm sorry,
on.
I'm sorry. You don't have to hear my rant. I'm sorry, I was ranting.
The Planned Parenting.
Yeah, there we go.
But
I'm
it was
sorry.
a tangent.
Yeah, it was a tangent. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. So let's wrap this up. Please, Megan.
Okay, we're going
host.
to wrap this up now.